hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, BraveMakers. This is Tony Gapperstone. I'm coming at you live from Redwood City. Today, it is April 4th, and my pronouns are he, him. My physical description, I'm a Caucasian man with brown hair and glasses. I'm wearing a yellow shirt randomly with a shirt with a snake on it. Why? I don't know. I just like the color, and maybe I wanted to be like sly as a snake in my creativity. It's from Target. Don't at me. I'm really excited that we have a special guest with us today for our 188th episode of the BraveMaker podcast. JOSIE Rodriguez is a makeup artist in the Bay Area with a huge slew of credits and lots of other cool things that she's doing in the film industry. So I'm very excited to welcome JOSIE Rodriguez. JOSIE, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Heck yeah. Do you want to do your introduction? You can share a physical description, pronouns, anything you want to say about where you are, what you do. It's all you for the next 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. My name is JOSIE Rodriguez. I'm a makeup artist in the Bay Area. Pronouns are she, her. Born and raised in a little town called Half Moon Bay.
Yes. Love HMB, Half Moon Bay. For those of you not in the Bay, that is where most of us go besides Santa Cruz to see the ocean. It's beautiful there. So JOSIE, we were talking off podcast before the cameras were rolling about you and your work. I've seen your name so many times. You seem to be a Bay Area staple on many of the bigger films, and you've also worked with former guest and friend of the show, Rick Bosner, on different things. So just like talk about your origin story. How did you get involved in the film industry, and why are you here specifically headquartered in the Bay Area?
So I started off about 13 years ago, about 13 years ago. I went to film school and for digital video photography. And right after I finished, I went on Craigslist and I looked up some movies because I really just wanted to get into it. And I saw that there was a film called All About Evil, which is directed by Joshua Gunnell, Peaches Christ. And it was a horror comedy. And I absolutely fell in love with that idea. And I just, I reached out to Rick Bosner, and he had me on as a PA. So I PA'd on that film. And it was, from there on, I started working with Peaches Christ on some of her shows that she did at Midnight Mass in San Francisco at the Bridge Theater. And yeah, that's kind of how it started.
So you were digital photography, you said, and you had kind of a desire to do some film work. And I love it. You just reached out, which don't ever underestimate just asking. I had a friend who got this phrase in my head: the answer is always no unless you ask. So don't assume people don't want you involved or aren't willing to bring you on or teach you or let you shadow or volunteer. Just ask. They might say no, but they also might say yes. So that's really cool. So you start working with Rick, you start working with Peaches Christ, and Peaches is a well-known drag performer as well in San Francisco.
Yes.
And so then how did you kind of fall into or start getting into the makeup and hair space?
I also had my Cosmo license, and I thought if I could merge those two together, my film and cosmetology, and do makeup, because I always loved special effects. Of course, growing up watching Rick Baker and horror films, and just loving it all the classic horror films. So I started working more with Rick on other films, and I think it was maybe the third film where I'm like, I'd love to maybe try out makeup. Is that possible? And so he put me on his first film as a makeup artist called MDMA.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what year that was, but that was the first film I did. And from there on, it's, film after film after film. And I just learned so much from, working under him. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the current projects. One of the big ones coming out is Paint with
Yes.
Owen Wilson. So you got to work with Owen, do his hair, and he's got some hair in this film.
Yeah, he's got some great hair.
Talk about this film and what it's all about and what your role was at, kind of what a typical day was like on set. Paint.
So we shot this in Saratoga Springs, and this was in the midst of COVID. So it was 2021, I believe it was in May. It was pretty rough, but other than that, it was so much fun to shoot. Owen was amazing. Um, you know, getting him into this character was a bit challenging because when we first went to Owen Wilson's house to measure him, to make, to see if he needed a beard, and he also had sideburns. So KK, the department head, and Liz Fox, the three of us went, and he had a beard, a little bit of a beard, but he's never grown a full beard ever. This is his first time.
Oh, wow.
And so, I knew we were going to start shooting in about a month. So I said, hey, so I don't have to get you a fake beard, because he didn't really like the feel of it. He ended up growing it out, and it actually looks really good. And I just, colored it every day, trimmed it. The sideburns were from John Blake, the wigs from John Blake, and it was designed by KK, the department head. So there's a lot that went into his character, and a lot of people were involved in creating it. And Owen loved every minute of it.
Well, if you're watching us live or on the replay on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe at BraveMaker.org on the YouTube channel. We'd love to have you watch us every week, but you're seeing some clips. And if you're listening on the audio version, you can Google Paint trailer with Owen Wilson and see some of Josie's work. If you are on the interwebs, it's all there. Josie, can you talk a little bit about, so we do have a lot of people from different departments and, film lovers of all kinds, sort of what, like when you get onto a show that has a celebrity, are you just focused on the celebrity? And I know you have a team of people. Do you take care of all the actors? What was it like, maybe specifically for this one, that we can kind of talk about other shows as well?
So as a department head, I normally would come up with the designs and the looks, and I'd hire a team to help me execute it. But sometimes, I hire someone like I hire Liz Fox, who's a good friend of mine, but she's wonderful to work with. And she's equally like there with me, and she helps me also design some of the looks. And so it really takes a team to come up with this, like Owen Wilson's look. We were supposed to base it off loosely Bob Ross, but not so much. But it was a little challenging, just making sure that he was comfortable. And KK, the department head hair, she it'd be great if she talked about it more, but she ended up making perming the hair, and then picking it out. We had Erica and Yuli, who were on set for the run of the show, and they took care of his hair and all the other casts on there. So yeah, it takes a village.
So cool. Again, if you're listening on the audio version podcast, you'll definitely have to go and check out the behind the scenes on Josie's website. So you can see a before and after.
He's so happy there.
What's that?
He's so happy there. I love it.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Yeah, so we're seeing a before Owen and an after Owen. And yeah, so the Bob Ross, so it's loosely based on Bob Ross, is that right? Or mostly inspired by? Okay.
It's inspired, it's not a Bob Ross, but it has his, he resembles him a lot.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely excited to see that and know that it was shot in Bay Area, and it's got Bay Area people who are all working in it, and maybe some actors I'm sure we will recognize who have maybe some under fives, small parts and stuff. Can you talk about the Bay Area culture, being a makeup artist, and what that looks like. I know we're going to talk about some of the other commercial work. You've had some really cool commercial work that you've done, and some other celebrities that I'm excited to chat about in a second. But can you talk about your work and what it looks like to live full time and do this kind of creative stuff in the Bay?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to clarify, Paint was shot in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Oh, my bad. I thought it
Yeah.
was in California. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Awesome.
just-
Okay. So no California actors potentially.
No California. Well, Wendy was. Yeah, there's a few of them that are. Yes.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Well, because I know Rick does a lot of stuff in New York too.
Yeah,
He does a lot of
he's-
Bay Area things. So that's kind of that totally makes sense now that I think
Yeah,
about
he does a
these
lot of work.
stories.
Yeah, New York. So yeah.
So chat about your full-time work and just living in the Bay Area or headquartered in the Bay Area. Doesn't mean you're regulated to just working in the Bay Area. You're obviously going away too. But is that because of Rick's bringing you on, or just I'd love to hear anything about that.
So everything's word of mouth. I am part of Wonderful Union 706. But for the most part, it's word of mouth. I get calls and says, "Hey, there's a movie coming. Are you available? We think you'd be great." And the Bay Area, I've been doing a lot of department head films since it's been a minute, but
Yeah.
I've worked on some really great films, Earth Mama being one of them, Fairyland another one, and
both of those that were at Sundance this year. I saw
Sundance.
Fairyland and I really loved it.
Oh,
So
good.
kudos to that. Saw Fairyland at
Glad.
Sundance. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, that was a beautiful story.
Oh, so cool. So
Yeah.
great. And I'm really geeking over one of the kind of the gonzo bonkers films that you worked on that was in the Bay Area, was Sorry to Bother You.
Yes.
Riley. Oh my gosh. If you have not seen that, BraveMaker people, please, that it's super weird and wild and fun and definitely a piece of art, but you got to work on that as well. You want to talk about that?
Yes, that I had so
Mhm.
much fun on that film. I was the key makeup artist, and the department head was Kirsten Coleman, and she brought me on, and this was I had no idea it was going to be this kind of film.
Yeah.
You're working on it, and you're like, oh, this sounds really just crazy, but when it all came together, I loved it. We had such an amazing cast. We had some amazing special effects. It became one of my favorites.
What about your involvement with those? Because there were some high profile actors. And I would wonder if you have any kind of tips, because this is something that whether you're working in makeup or you're a DP or you're a director or you're an AD or whoever, you sometimes encounter people that have some reputation and some clout and they're recognizable. How do you keep it together? You got any tips? Because you were working with Tessa Thompson and Lakeith Stanfield. What was that like working with them? And if you have any other general kind of thoughts on how to not lose it, with
the
fandom.
I mean, I feel like I've worked with some phenomenal actors, and they've all been so wonderful. Lakeith was so great to work with, and this is my second film with him.
Cool.
The first one was, we were both really just getting started, and it never really came out. It didn't came out, but it was a beautiful story too. It's called Quest, and it was filmed in Oakland. So that's how we first met. And this was Sorry to Bother You was our second film. So we already had a connection. So we vibed well. But the entire cast was great. I do have to say, sometimes you get someone and people start saying, oh, that person is difficult. But honestly, every experience is different. I feel like it happened when I worked with an actress, and they were like, oh, she's very dramatic and be careful with her. But she ended up being lovely. And it really I feel it's the energy that you put in. And like I said, every experience is different.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because we can be so quick to judge one another. And, if I have one bad day, and I have a lot of them, or a bad hour, or maybe I'm short with someone, all of a sudden now I'm, stigmatized in that way, and people start chatting, and
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh yeah, you work with Tony. Good luck with that." But I
Yeah.
really appreciate that you take that perspective, because they often say the hair and makeup people, you're with them sometimes more than the
Yes.
director and the producers, right? You have their ears. You're listening to how their
Yeah.
day is going, and so cool. Any other thoughts about navigating sort of those roles when you have to sometimes, like, you're a therapist, you're a
Oh
counselor,
yeah.
you're a coach, you're a friend? You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. We
That
put out
experience?
fires in the trailer. We hear it all. We get some that are, that can be just very fragile, because this is a really tough industry to be in. Period. And some of them come with, just they're being careful, and I could tell that it just, I work around them, and sometimes I put their favorite music, or I or bring a candle that they love, just to set the mood. And sometimes, and I know they're not having a a good day, I tell the AD or the director, hey, just so you know, um just they're having a pretty rough morning, and I'm just giving you a heads up.
That's cool. I appreciate that. I hear you talking about just being kind of sensitive to the actors and what they
Yeah.
need. That's really great. This industry is hard, and we all have been through a ton of rejection. I'm like squeezing my skin just thinking about how sometimes we are so guarded because we've built up a thick skin
Yeah.
to all of the rejection, to all of the judgment potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if hair makeup team, but anybody, we can be kind to one another and just aware of that. Gosh, how much better our experience can be. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear just any stories you want to share about your relationship with directors and producers. I myself am a producer and a director, so I love knowing how I can better serve my teams and the keys of each team. What are some of the things that come to mind that you would say, hey, if you're a director or producer or AD or whoever, just be aware of this. This is how you can here's some best practices when it comes working with the hair and makeup team.
It's funny. I'm so glad you touching upon that. I just had a little encounter with a director who came off a little bit rough, and just you know just talking to him, it just felt like, I wasn't connecting. But I feel like, and at that point, of course, it wasn't a good connection, so I was able to be like, hey, I'm sorry, this is probably not a good fit. But I just feel, I love talking to directors, producers. That's one thing I do pretty well. Um, but I think it's important to have that communication with each other, because we're working with the actress, they're working with the actor, and so we have to connect, and we have to find a way to, um, just be able to communicate, in any way. I mean, I'm probably going off track right now, but
No, I dig this. Would you say, Josie, like for instance, when you felt things were kind of getting, they weren't aligning, what was it because the person was a little harsh or just didn't feel like they were listening? What are some kind of red flags that you knew, oh, this might not be for me?
well, I felt, and this is just my opinion, I felt that, it was definitely, he came from a different culture,
Mm.
and might have been a little bit more, maybe not into women
Okay.
being in this industry. Not like he's, not favoring it as much.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of vibe I got, that, you know, um, not talking down, but also not respecting me, you know, and what I had to say.
Yeah. Okay. So respect. Hello, people.
Yeah.
RESPECT, Aretha. Saying, remember, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to me. I was just listening to another conversation on a podcast, and they were kind of lauding this guest as being a really good person to work with. And then another person on the podcast said, well, the bar is low in the entertainment industry. If you just are like a decent human being, you will stand out. And I thought that kind of that stinks. So yeah, it doesn't take much, right? If you're a good person on set, people will recognize that and see that. And if you're not, people don't want to work with you. And even if you're like a genius, it's like, don't be that person, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the first time I've ever encountered anything like that. But other than that, I've just learned to work with directors and producers, and you know, for the most part, they've all been wonderful. But like I said, I feel like it's you know, it's also you know, trying to bring in some good energy and just be able to you know, make the same movie together. My world is different from theirs, but if we can just, you know, find a good balance, we can make something beautiful.
I love it. We need you. It's the collaboration. This is a collaborative medium, and as a director, I certainly know that when I have everybody working together, from the props to the production design to the hair makeup to the editor, everybody is like, we're doing something together and we need each other to work together. And so I just get so bummed when I feel anybody is devalued or belittled, especially with the disrespect of, you know, I'm better than you, or for whatever reason, you know, whatever ism, sexism. It's just like, oh, that's such a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it helped that I started off as a PA, because I really got to work in all departments. And what I learned is that every department is just as equally important. You know, it can't work without the camera. It can't work without the lights. It can't work without the makeup, hair, and props. So it's wonderful when we all collaborate, because we can really just do something great together.
It's amazing. Episode 188. I'm with Josie Rodriguez, Bay Area makeup artist. You can follow her on Instagram at Josie_I. Is that I or under? Yeah, it's I, right?
Yes.
_ Rodriguez. That'll be in the show notes if you're listening to the audio version. If you're watching on replay, it's in the chat. What are some of your favorites that you've worked on, and why? I'd love to hear. You got huge credits. You've got Black Bear by Audrey Plaza. By the way, one of my favorites. I love that film. It's such a cool.
Good. I'm so glad.
Gosh, it's so good.
Good.
And it has an industry bent to it too. So I love industry movies, and she's so good in it. I'm such a huge fan of hers. But yeah, what are some of your favorite stories on set, and you know, and why?
I love. Black Bear was great. Wow. If we had more time, I have so many stories with Aubrey Plaza.
Share one or two. Come on, let's hear it.
She's so wonderful. You know, it was a tough shoot, but we had a great crew, and a lot of them were from the Bay Area.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know if I could tell this story because it was so funny, but I feel like you know. I probably shouldn't. Maybe some other.
Okay, tell me offline.
Probably offline, but I do have some wonderful things to say about Aubrey. She was great to work with. So much fun, and I mean, I would do it all over again. Black Bear too. Another one I really loved was and it, you know, it was their first narrative, and it was for Shark Week, and it was Dominican Republic with Josh Duhamel. I'm not sure. I mean, it did pretty good, but we came in. I was called in to do special effects, and also take care of Josh Duhamel because, you know, the Dominican Republic, there's a language barrier, so the producers brought me in to help with that, and it was so much fun. I had a blast. We shot at Pine Wood Studios.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if you know about it.
Heard of it, yeah.
It's a huge pool, and it's facing the ocean, and they make these waves, like man-made waves, and it's just unbelievable. And I think that's where they shot Pirates of the Caribbean, like all these other films.
So
but that
cool.
was amazing. That was one of my top 5.
Iconic. So if you're filming and you want to work with somebody who's got amazing experience, Josie is available for hire. I already told her, my mind is always spinning when I have people on the show is how can I work together with them in the future? I told Christine Weatherup, I'm a shout out Christine. Christine is a actor and director in LA, and she's and I are talking about how could we collaborate, and she has maybe an idea for a San Francisco thing. So I said, meet Josie because Josie's in the Bay Area. So shout out to Christine. We'll get you two together. In fact, Christine's coming up here in May for that school, that BraveMaker Academy thing I was telling you about,
Awesome.
Josie. So maybe we'll find a way for us all to get
Love
together.
it, love it, love it.
I want to hear because I do like special effects makeup, and I want to work in writing and directing some films with that kind of need on set. So what are your favorite things to create? I saw there was some werewolf work and some other bloody kind of things on your Insta. What are your favorite kind of special effects makeup to do?
I love character effects. I mean, I did one with Margaret Kerrigan. She's Pandora. She's part of Pandora Effects. She's a good friend of
Oh yeah, I
mine.
know Margaret. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's
you
great.
know Margaret.
And we worked together a couple times.
Yeah, I love her. We did Stephen Curry. We turned him into the Grinch, and that was, oh my God, what a wonderful experience. We also turned Naisha into a little Whoville person, so it was a lot of fun. But I love working with prosthetics. I love just the whole process of transformation. Yeah, there it is. That was fun.
You've worked with Steph a couple times though, right?
Yeah, I've worked with Steph
Cool.
on a few commercials. He's a
Yeah.
very busy guy.
Mhm. He lives right close to where I live, and his son, he's been spotted playing t-ball with his son in our
Oh, I
local
love
park.
that.
So everyone's going gaga for him. But that's so cool. Yeah, I know you do a lot of commercial work and stuff too. So
He's
how
so great
fun.
too. Just a wonderful guy too.
Don't you love to hear that? Like
Yeah,
that's what you want. That's what
yeah,
you want.
absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, that's so exciting. Is there anything like when you think about your work that you want people to know that you haven't, shared yet? Like how does the process, start for you? Like if someone reaches out to you, what things do they need to have in order? What questions will you be asking them that they need to have a response for? I'd love to kind of hear a little bit of talk around that.
I have like reading the script obviously is the first thing. Um and it used to be when I started off, it used to be okay, how much am I going to get from this? But now it's like I read the stories and I need to connect somehow with it. I need to feel it, and I'm totally okay to do indie films, low budget, as long as the story is there and I can connect with it. Fairyland was one of them. Fairyland was very low budget, but when I first read the script, it was beautiful, and I read who was attached to it, and I just knew right away. I was like, this is going to be good. So I brought in a really good team, and it was really hard because we were very limited on budget, and but you saw it. It turned out really
Mhm.
great, and I'm
Mhm.
so happy. I'm so happy about it. Yeah.
Do you know anything about Fairyland, like where it is or where it's going?
I think Arc Light picked it up,
Okay.
and I'm not sure where right now, but
Okay.
that's how much I don't know too much about it.
It
Yeah,
was such a good film. Yeah, it's
I love Scoot
based
McNairy.
based in he was so good.
Yeah, he was
Based in
wonderful.
San Francisco, and it's inspired by a true story.
Yes,
So yeah, and it's in in the space of the 80s when AIDS was ravishing through San Francisco and people didn't know how to respond, and you've got a man trying his best to stay connected to his daughter, and it features I'm blanking on the actor's name. She was in Coda.
Amelia
So
Jones. Yeah,
yeah, it's just like the acting is so
it's
good.
wonderful.
Cinematography was so great. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was really there. Fairyland by Alicia Abbott. Yeah,
Alicia Abbott. Yeah, it was her story. She's lovely to work with too.
I love it.
She said she was very happy with how Scoot McNairy's He's got a beard. It's fake, by the way. It's
Mm.
a John Blake beard. And funny story is, we were supposed to shoot all the scenes with him in this beard, and then and then we go back to just having no beard. But things changed because we had a young actress and we had to work around her schedule too. So I had the last minute had to buy a John Blake wig. John Blake is very well known for having beautiful beards or wigs, and so I got very last minute. They shipped it out,
Oh, wow.
and I measured it, and he loved it. He loved it, and I was, of course, nervous because it was just very last minute, and I was scrambling. But he was very happy with it, and so yeah, I mean, this movie means a lot to me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And, we've all seen bad wig work in
Yeah.
film. So that is really hard to
Yeah,
nail that.
it is.
So I
Yeah.
will say I never felt like it took me out of the film. I always felt like it was believable and real, and
Good.
so good work
Yay.
on that. Yeah, that's
That
super
makes me
fun.
happy.
Yeah,
Just
I got
know
to
that
work.
I'm really stressed out and I was scrambling. I was like, oh my God, is this even possible?
Oh my
And
gosh,
and sure enough, I made it happen. And he was
beautiful.
the thing is, you want the actor to also feel comfortable, because when you have something fake on your face, you're gonna feel it. It kind of takes you away from it. But he was very happy with the overall look, and oh my gosh, his performance just amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I definitely agree. So Fairyland, everybody be on the lookout. You'll see Josie's working. And I got to work with Margaret a few weeks ago on a shoot with Guerrilla Wanderers. You might know them as well. But I got to wear this like super long wig, and it was so fun.
Oh,
I had never had a wig as an actor on before like that, only in theater.
oh,
And
cool.
I was looking at myself. I even said, I was like, how did you match it to my exact color? Like it was like down to my shoulders, exactly how my hair is. She's like, I know how to do these. I'm like, it's amazing.
She's pretty amazing.
You all work magic on set. I love that.
Good.
So filmmakers should have the script ready, should be able to talk about vision. I hear you talking about that, yes, you need to make a living, but really story is going to drive it, and you have low budget things that are going to come through town. And if it works and it's right, then cool, it works and it's right. Is there anything else you want to say just to maybe emerging hair and makeup people that you would encourage them like to jump in and to experiment? You started off by saying just ask for what you want to do. Maybe you can use these, but manifest the job that you want to have. Anything else you want to say to the emerging hair and makeup people?
Yeah, I mean, I started off not knowing anything, and I just wanted to be a part of this world. So I remember getting a portfolio ready. I called up a photographer, Damien Wolf, and we both wanted to make these special effects, using models, and just a really cool shoot, like a photography shoot. And I hired a few. This is like, oh gosh, this was 2009 when I started doing this. And I just put it all together, got a studio, and we just started, we got 3 models, and we did some special effects, and he shot he was the photographer. So he just did a lot of creative, like, I don't know, there was one where a girl had a bullet hole on her head. It was just something fun. And that's kind of how it started. And then, I started meeting more people, and, connecting with more artists, and then just building my portfolio. But it helped that I was a PA first, because I already knew people, and they're like, oh, I heard you're trying to get into more makeup. I have a job maybe my first big job was like MTV. I forget that show that was huge back then, where they all lived in one house.
Oh, Real World?
Yes.
Yeah.
San Francisco. Yeah. So it was like,
wow.
It was like a photo shoot for, I forget what, maybe Vogue or something. And that was my first big thing. And that's kind of how it started, just asking and just, not being afraid to, if they say no, fine, whatever. And you just move on. And, that's That's it.
It's awesome, Josie. You've been in it for a minute. That's great.
Yeah.
And I love the vibe that you've got. Like, just go out there and make it happen. And I never thought about that. It's interesting. If you want to be in hair and makeup, just start doing it, learn it. And then I love that you invested in yourself, hiring a photographer, getting these models, and just showing your work. And this reminds me of the book Austin Kleon did, Show Your Work.
Yeah.
If you want to do a particular job in the entertainment industry, people need to see you doing it.
Yeah.
So as a actor, as a writer, as a director, I'm putting myself out there. Like, look, here's me directing. I'm directing a short film. Here's me doing my feature film, whatever. Put yourself out there. And that's great. I never heard about that. I never really thought about that. Makeup artists and special effects people, just get someone to shoot for photograph.
Yeah. I
your
mean,
work.
you got to set your fears aside, because I can be very, I know I'm a little shy, just, and I just get nervous, but when you set that aside and you just go for what you want, and just start getting to know people in the industry. And, like I worked with Francis Ford Coppola for a week. I was a personal to him on some small thing he was doing for Vineyard. And I just remember I was nervous, but I just asked him questions, and he was so open. He was so, and he, just asking me questions like about film, and how long he's been in it. And so it just felt good, because it was almost one of those where I'm like, well, is it okay to talk to him about this? But he was very happy that I was asking all the questions. And so, yeah.
You're like, this is Francis Ford Coppola,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Godfather. And he's still passionate about the art. He's going to want to
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.
But right away, my mind was like, oh, he's not going to want to talk to me, even though I was personal. But no, it's all, you just got to set that aside. And we're all doing the same thing. We're all making a film together,
Love it. Well, gosh, this is so inspiring to me. It's a great reminder to us all. Keep going after it, everybody. Keep going after what you want. Make it known. Ask for help. Get to know people, because this is a word of mouth industry. In fact, I just was working with another makeup artist who got referred to a photographer that I'm working with in a month because I worked with him on another, project. It's all about those relationships.
Yeah.
And it's so important. Be a good person. And I think, if you're good and you're a good person, things will work out if you persevere through it, right? It does not happen overnight.
Exactly. It happens. Yeah. Doesn't happen overnight.
Josie Rodriguez can be found at Josie_I_Rodriguez on Instagram. There's so many great behind the scenes photos. You will love them. Go and check out her work, and make sure you see Owen Wilson in Paint coming out this month. Also, it's supporting Rick Bosner, a friend of BraveMaker too. So we love to see these Bay Area connections. Filmed in Saratoga, New York, though. There we go. Josie, will you hang out with me for a couple more minutes and your favorite thing of the week? Awesome.
Okay.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
Season 4 is available. It's the final season of Succession. I'm 2 episodes in, because that's all there is. And I am favoriting it because it is so good. I honestly don't understand some of the things I'm watching, to be totally honest. Like, I don't understand this huge high-tech media conglomerate kind of world, but the writing and the acting is so good, and it's so fast, and it's so witty that it has me engaged, and it makes me want to write characters like this. So huge fave to Succession. And I know some people don't like whiny rich people, whiny white rich people. I get it. So you might need to pass if that's triggering to you. But I think Jesse Armstrong, creator, is doing a great job. And there's always these cool behind the scenes of it after each episode. And finally, there's a HBO podcast that goes along with it, which is super cool. So I recommend that. That's my fave. What do you got, Josie? What's your favorite of the week?
Right now I'm on a binge, and Pedro Pascal right now. He's actually binge watching Mandalorian 3 and also going back and forth this The Last of Us. So that's what I've been doing this week.
Pedro Pascal is having a moment.
He's having a great year.
This guy, dang. So, and this is what I also love too. Everyone's like, he's such a great guy. He's a good actor. He's a talent. He's fun. At least he comes across like that. He's funny. So that's what we love to see, right? We want to see this kind of success and this kind of
Yes.
good human being putting out good work. So great. Awesome.
Yes.
Favoriting Pedro Pascal and all of his millions of projects that he has right now. Okay, Josie, do not go away. I want to say thank you to everybody out there. If you have watched the show for 188 episodes or in any capacity have been a part of BraveMaker, that we cannot do this without you. And I am just super grateful to all of the supporters out there who support us and make this possible. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And so you all, with your donations, there are 30 of you who contribute to the work that we do. It's all tax deductible and charitable. And we have 30 people who give. In fact, Robin Zitko is at our tier of podcast support that we shout her out every week, because with her support, we are able to host the streaming platform that charges a subscription fee, have really cool microphones in our studio. So if you want to become one of our 30 donors, or let's do 31 who give on a monthly basis, you can go to bravemaker.com/donate, and you can see we have like different levels, like the actor, the executive producer, the production assistant, and there are different perks like getting VIP passes to our July 13th through 16th Film Festival in Redwood City and other cool things. So if you want to be a part of that, please check out bravemaker.com/donate. You can also just do it from your phone. Text the word BraveMaker to 44321 and you'll get a link that pops up right in your little text messages, and you can do it from your phone, and everything is tax deductible. So consider that. I would really, really appreciate it. I'm Tony Gappistone, and you can find me on all the socials at Tony Gappistone or my website, tonygap.com. Cannot do this without our amazing producer, Amy Cohen, who is in Austin, Texas. She coordinates all of the stuff with our guests behind the scenes. We're super grateful for her. Our intern, Jessica Cohen, notice the last name. Amy and Jessica are our family, and Jessica is our intern, and she will edit clips of this show and put it out on our social media. So huge shout out to Jessica for all the work that she does behind the scenes to continue to get the word out about what we're doing here. Our podcast editor, Barnell Amos, will take this and audit and edit it into the audio version. And then Carrie Alley, who does our social media production. Super grateful to them. They are in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay, I'm going to take a breath and welcome back Josie again. Josie, thank you so much for being on the show. I know you also have a website. Do you want to share that, where people can find you on the website?
Yeah, it's Josie Rodriguez, MU, I think .com.
Yes, awesome. Go find Josie, hire her. I'm gonna try to. I really do appreciate you and wish you the best. I think we need more great people like you and talented people, and we'll find a way maybe with the BraveMaker Academy to sync up and do something potentially in the future. Yeah, thanks so much for your time. And y'all, it's Tuesday. I forgot to mention, we normally don't do this on a Tuesday, but when we have cool people who can't do Wednesday, I'm like, sure, let's rearrange it. So now I have Wednesday off. And next week, we will not be doing a show either because it is spring break for my kids. And I'm going to go to Los Angeles and play for a little bit. So, Josie, do not go away. I'd love to take a quick screenshot with you that we can post. Great. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you. So cool. All right, everybody. Brave stories change the world, and you are the story. See ya.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.